Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to another special edition of the Row Report. I am your Royal 2IC. Today is Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Um, I thought before I would run off to have Thanksgiving dinner, I would put out a little bit of a Thanksgiving video for you. So, to start off with, when we talk about Thanksgiving, we go back to basically what we were taught in school, and we all know the story. So, in the fall of 1962, the Pilgrims celebrated their first year in America by having a Thanksgiving feast in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Now, the celebration was basically to give thanks for a bountiful harvest. And this basically was kind of boils down to the celebration of survival. Now, from what we were taught in school, the Pilgrims landed in America in September of 1620. This was basically after two failed attempts. Now, they had another ship that tried to launch with them, and it was leaking and had all sorts of problems, but they didn't give up. So, on the third try, they decided to leave that ship behind, and they set sail where they successfully landed in America. And it was a difficult time. So their high salt seafood diet, as well as the harsh winter of the Americas, the survival of them was basically almost at the rate of one person per day, because from the journey to the first 2 months that they was on dry land, about 50 of the original crew of 102 plus 30 crew members, only about 50 survived the winter. Now, why is that? Well, they did bring over some skills. So, pilgrims had some basic skills. They were builders and tailors, weavers, tanners, among some other things. But they lacked basic survival skills, or at least the survival skills that we would consider basic today. So, who taught them these basic survival skills? Who taught them things like how to hunt, the different and various trapping techniques, and the patterns of animal movements? Because you have to go back into that time period, and they weren't good hunters. Now, the reason why is because most of the woods back in England was either owned by nobles or the king himself. And so hunting was strictly forbidden at that time. So they didn't have any practice and they didn't have any skills of hunting. Now, who showed them what food items to gather, what was edible, and what was dangerous? Now, they did have a little bit of farming that kind of came with them, but they didn't have to scavenge and you know they didn't have to do the edibles out in the wilderness, because they had what was back then in that a modern civilization at that time. So if you go back and you look at who taught them how to forage and scavenge and what was edible, what to stay away from, the hunting, all of that, no, of course, it's the Native Americans, the natives. They, at the time, were the ultimate survivalist. The only problem is that they weren't technically survivalists. That was their daily life. From the time that they were born, all throughout, they were taught how to fish, how to hunt, how to gather. They were taught how to defend themselves. They were cross-trained in all sorts. Now, yes, they had, you were a hunter by trade, but they cross-trained. They came together as a unit, as a tribe. So it's one of those things to look back through history and bring it into our aspect of being the prepping community. So I wanted to bring into a way to look at this in a little bit of a different light. So on this day of giving thanks, because that's what it was all about for them, it was a celebration of survival, of a bountiful harvest that they had. They were taught all the survival skills needed to basically build what we enjoy today. And what we enjoy today, we take for granted. And it's a sad state. Now, granted, I'm an offender too. You flip on a light switch without giving it a second thought on whether or not it's going to work. When I sat down in this chair, I didn't check and make sure that it was put together properly, or, I wasn't just going to fall down. We take things for granted every single day, not looking back to the past and the way that people had to survive and forge ahead to make it possible. So, on this day, I will be giving thanks, not only for the bountiful meal that I'm getting ready to go and eat, but for all the supplies that I have, all the things that I have acquired, the people I have met, the friends and family I'm going to be enjoying this meal with, as well as the skills and knowledge that I have gained. It all boils down to giving me a better chance, giving my family a better chance. And so for that, I am thankful. Hopefully, you guys will have a very blessed and a very bountiful meal. And from me to you, I hope you guys have a very wonderful, really awesome Thanksgiving. Enjoy. God bless each and every one of you. And above all else, remember, remain united because we're all prepping in this together.